Mama's gonna be so proud of me, 'cause I found a baby bumblebee. I was walking all around and then looked down, and there was my baby bumblebee, sitting on the ground. Oh, hello there. I was just catching up on my reading here in my study, otherwise known as my living room. It's me, Gazbot, and it's 100 days of making comics. Today being the day designated 79. 79 out of 100. We are crazily flying towards the end here. This is my brain exploding out of my temporal lobe. Temporal is in front? Occipital? I don't know. There's a couple lobes. They're all in here. Lisa Loeb over in the back. Ha 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 ha! Anyway, Jeff Loeb. Anyway, I'm standing here. I'm using the new camera for the second time today. I have it on a tripod, which is an advantage. The GoPro I could put on a tripod, but it was kind of a pain in the butt, and the iPhone would not go on a tripod. Now, the only problem is I was going to set it up in another room just to give a different view and things like that, which I've done, but this was not my first choice. The tripod I have actually comes up to about here on me, so I have to move it back and tilt it slightly up to get fully in frame. So I might need to look into getting a higher elevation tripod, because if I wanted to get, you know, a close-up or you know, like if I wanted it to look like this, hey, I'm crouching down, you know, so, and don't you want that? Don't you want a close-up smarm? But anyway, we're here in front of my Transformers case, Transformers being probably tied for my biggest collection, the other being Star Wars, although I think my Transformers might be a slightly larger collection in terms of pieces, but Star Wars I have like a huge Millennium Falcon and a huge AT-AT, so that makes it seem bigger, and then I have a lot of little figures. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's more just for backdrop since it's not comic related. So what did I do today? Well, I woke up, and then I had a cup of coffee, and then I gave my cat a pill, and then that's not what you mean. You mean, what did I do for work? Well, I worked on Earthling coloring quite a bit today. I finished up another page and sent that out. I had started it yesterday. Doing the 2 pages up really is saving me time, and as soon as I started doing it, I remembered why I was doing it, because it's just so much easier to have it set up like, oh, I need the red for Earthling's skin. Boop, 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 red on all 4 pages. Now I need, you know, blue for that guy's pants. Boop, 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 blue all the way through. And like, I won't say it cuts in half, because it certainly doesn't, but I would say if I was going to spend 5 hours on each page, let's say, maybe I spend like 8 hours on both pages. So it knocks an hour off, or 2 hours off, depending on if you use math. So I finished up 1 page that I'd started yesterday, sent that out, and then today I started the next 2 pages similarly. Neither one is done, but I got a lot of work done on them. But I'll show you the page that I finished using the classic crossfade. Here it comes. Crossing! And it was the crossfade. So yeah, there's that. And the next 2 pages, like I said, I already started on, and that's kind of the end of this book, which was what when I get those 2 done, that's what I was originally contracted for, was to finish up this book by the end of February. And since it's only the 11th or whatever, you know, and I'll probably get those 2 pages done by the end of this week at the latest, job done. But then David Brink, the creator, writer, artist guy, enjoyed my work enough that he asked me if I wanted to do another 6 or 7 pages. And I said yes, and have a little bit longer deadline on that being March 10th, which is what the super brick wall deadline where there's no flexibility, not just on his end because he's going to go to print and stuff, but on my end because I'll be in Japan the next day. So I sort of said to him, "How's that?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's good." And I know I will make that deadline because I have to. Not that I don't make my deadlines anyway, but you know, it's extra incentive. I don't know what those pages are going to be, though, I realize, because I have the script and the pencils for the next 2 pages I'm doing. So maybe it's starting issue 2, which is what the Kickstarter's for, or, you know, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to, I guess I'll find out. It'll be a fun adventure. I'm going to be coloring something, and I assume it'll be more Earthling pages. Maybe there were some other pages earlier in the book, or whatever. I'm just speculating and digressing. So I also spent a chunk of time doing another one of my caricatures. Like I said, I had 5 caricatures I needed to do. 3 for one client, 2 for another. The 2 for the other I knocked out the other day. I showed them to you with the bars across their eye. The other client I can't show you yet, but I knocked out the second, so I only have 1 more to do for that client, and I'll be done with the caricatures. So then the Earthling coloring, caricatures. I do have to do another page for Kid Switch, page 10, I think. I really want to do that before I go to Japan, but that deadline's a little bit more squishy, so maybe I could get away with not doing it. But my plan is to get all my other work done first that I have to get done, and if I have time to get the Kid Switch page done, I absolutely want to get it in there. Otherwise, that aside from like I think I have a live caricature gig one day coming up. Other than that, that's what I have on my plate to clear. Finished all that stuff. Did all my usual whatevers. Went for a little bike ride. And then came back. Worked on the horror. I did just a hair over an hour. I would have liked to have done 2 hours, but I don't know. I put a lot of extra other work on some other stuff, and I kind of would. And this comes back to the video thing. If I didn't have to do the video, I probably would have done 2 hours. But I knew I was going to have an hour of filming, editing, whatever on the video, so I was like, I don't want to, you know. So again, a bittersweet thing. I like making the videos. If all I had to do was work on my comic and make the videos, life would be sweet. But all this other stuff in between, which of course is the point of the 100 days of making comics. And I'm berating myself for only doing an hour, but really I only have to do 30 minutes. But, you know, I'm trying to do better. Especially because I put in an hour, and some of that hour was redoing stuff I had kind of done yesterday. As I told you, I'd lost some work. So what I'll show you is panel 3, which I had started yesterday, got pretty far in, and it got scrapped, and then I, you know, redid it, and it's a perspective shot, people sitting at a table, so it was kind of a boring / hard shot to do. And then I started the next panel, which is the Supreme Military Commander sort of pointing behind himself at this big view screen, and I finished that. I didn't put what's on the view screen, which is going to be a bunch of monsters, so that'll be fun to do tomorrow, just a bunch of little monsters and squares. So, you know, this is one of those things where I think about, I'm going to put some monsters in there now, but if eventually, well, whatever. I was going to say, if eventually, when I put out all the issues and then decide to do a trade paperback graphic novel, maybe I'll do a Kickstarter, and maybe an incentive could be, tell me what your monster is, and I'll put it in there, and like, that's great, but that's like years away. That's not the kind of thing I need to worry about right now. Anyway, I'll go ahead and show you what I did today. I'm just going to do the crossfade. I didn't do a process video. Maybe I'll do a process video tomorrow, because at first I felt like I was doing them all the time, and now I feel like I haven't done one in forever. So we'll see. Tomorrow, exciting things may happen. Or a process video, which is maybe not so exciting, but blah. Anyway, here's my oof. That was my oof. So yeah, so I had a pretty productive day. Got a lot of stuff done that I had to get done. Put an hour on the horror. My cat is playing by my feet right now. She's like, oh, what? Flamp, biting on a pink thing. It's not attached to me. It's like a stuffed animal. Don't worry. So that is day 79. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm forgetting. Been watching a lot more Scott Serkland videos, which I've talked about before. Serkworks. I'll put a link in the show notes. Been watching a lot more Angry Video Game Nerd stuff. I'll put that in the show notes. You know, podcasts, a go-go. When I went on the bike ride, I've been still listening to Pimsleur Japanese. I'm on like less than 9 now, and it's good because I was just gonna go run to the Safeway, the food store, which is like 10 minutes. But I made a point of like riding around extra to get a half hour in so I could listen to the whole lesson. So it's kind of like with the videos where, because I have a certain amount of listening to do on my Japanese lessons, it encourages me / forces me to ride my bike more. So it's like, oh, because I want to learn more, I have to exercise more. But it's good. Although I did get to, I've been feeling pretty good about the lessons, and I got to chapter 9, and I'm like, wow. Camera just cut out during playback. I was looking at it, and it was in the middle of a sentence, and it stopped. Don't know why. It didn't give me an indicator. It didn't seem to be overheating. It's a brand new camera. I wasn't out of memory because afterwards I shot another video of my cat, and that showed up fine. So awesome! Brand new camera. Problems continuing. Sorry for this terrible walking video, but I'm not gonna refilm the end of it. It was mostly done, and oh, wow, this is terrible. That's day 79. And that means we've got just 21 days left. 21.